Grace and peace, y'all. Everybody's feeling blessed today. Listen, I woke up ready to get into this message. So the channel message I got when I first woke up was June is your germination season. And I woke up, I was like, woo! Now, for those of you who don't know, when a plant germinates, when a seed germinates, it's when that little sprout comes out. Sometimes it may have a little leaf on it or not. Either way, you got something growing. And I love that lately I've been getting a lot of plant references and growing references when it comes to my channel messages. So I'm like, that shows me that I'm definitely in alignment when it comes to a lot of my projects. So welcome to your germination season. Happy June, happy June. So we're going to get into this. So I'm here to guide you through this time, this season that you're in. So the first thing we're going to talk about is aligning with God's timing. This is the important factor. So if you are in germination season, you have been aligning with God's timing. Now, the alignment process isn't always easy to do. I will say sometimes people accidentally align, and that's the reason why I'm making this video, because you can be in alignment just because you're following your internal compass or guidance, or just because you feel passionate about the areas that you're starting to dive into. But it's easy to get off track if your alignment isn't solid. So now that you've gotten into germination, let's solidify this alignment. So how I do that is understanding that you need to slow down first so that you can receive God's guidance. This is the most important part of things. When you are moving too fast, when you are doing too much, God can't talk to you. God has a still, calm voice. So imagine you are in a room and 8 people trying to talk to you, 8 people trying to get their point across to you, right? You got person number 1 yelling at you, saying what they need you to do. Person number 2, maybe that's your boss, telling you what they need you to do. Person number 3 telling you, maybe that's your child, telling you, mommy, I gotta be dropped off for soccer practice. And then God comes through with his calm whisper. He tells you what he needs you to do. We got person number 4 yelling and screaming at you, saying, hey, why didn't you do X, Y, and Z? Person number 5, maybe it's your husband saying, hey. So you got all these people yelling at you. You want to know the thing that you're going to forget? That calm whisper to your heart, to your spirit. This is why slowing yourself down and giving less access to you is going to be very important and pivotal in this moment. Because as you want to solidify your alignment with God, you want to hear him. The guidance is so important. And many people miss the guidance factor of his connection. Now, guidance comes in all ways. So be open to the many ways God will give you guidance. There are times when he'll try to come through in a way that speaks to your soul. Maybe you scrolling on social media. He knows you're always on social media. So that's where he's coming for you. And because you're distracted, you miss the guidance. I can't tell you, there are times where I've asked the Lord a question while I'm in a walking meditation, where I'm like, I wonder if I should, take care of X, Y, and Z today. I got a lot on my plate, but I really want to get that done. And I walk over to the street corner. And as I'm waiting for the light, I'll hear clearly, wait, from the light post. That's just telling me, wait when I'm crossing the street. But if I really attune my soul, God told me to wait. I just asked a question and got an answer. Now, if I try to say that everything's a coincidence and not a synchronicity, I'll miss that sign. So that alignment is really important. So you understand when your signs come, how they come, and that they will be everywhere because God answers you. Most of the time we miss what he's saying because we're too busy trying to apply it in a way that we want it to come. So slowing it down is going to definitely keep your alignment on point. So that's going to be the first step to the germination season. All right, the next thing we're going to get into is knowing what God wants for you. All right. Now, everybody talks about service. Yes. Being of service to God is everything. You want to be called. So He's definitely going to give you a few things. I got my notes here for you. So the first thing is he's going to have you, sorry, we wrote this pretty quick this morning. Know the vision. You may know the vision before you are ready to walk in. A lot of times this happens because the vision is actually already implanted in you. The vision is something that is true to your soul. When you know it's the thing you're supposed to do, you know it immediately. You feel it all over you. It's like, no, that's the thing. I want to do that forever. Yes. So you'll usually get the vision before you're actually ready to step into the purpose or into the service. So know that just because you have the vision doesn't mean you're ready to completely build it out. That is important because the next thing God is going to call you into is into a solitude, because you cannot serve when your heart still carries everything that has kept you back. All the things that stopped you from being in service originally, it all has to go. And that can only be worked out with you going within and understanding what has to be shed. And I mean officially, because you can put things down and pick it back up. Think about how many people quit smoking and they pick up smoking sometimes even heavier than they did before. Quitting habits, quitting, these things that actually keep us bound to the world are some of the hardest things you're going to go through. So sitting in solitude so you can understand your connection to them, so that you can understand you don't need them anymore, will allow you to fully release them. And it can be anything. It can be your connection to food, to be honest. There are foods that disrupt our connection to God. Yeah, really. One I can definitely tell you is meat. Now, a lot of people still eat meat, and you can still eat meat and have a connection to God. But what I will tell you is when you understand that meat is a physical attribute to what that animal went through, you're eating trauma in some sense. Sometimes you're eating the fear of that animal that was slaughtered, if it wasn't slaughtered properly. And when it happens, you're ingesting that, so now you have fear. Now you have trepidation. Now you have anger. And it can literally be simply paying attention to the foods that you are putting into your body. So yes, all addictions need to be broken. All habits that are not going to push you forward, they'll need to be sorted. Now granted, God does not call perfect people. He wants no perfection. So scrap that. So he does not. He calls people who are willing to do the work. So be willing, be open, and be ready, and you will be called. The next thing is time with God. Oh my gosh. This is my favorite thing, because you can't serve man and not spend time with God. You have to. Because what are you going to tell mankind? You can't relay a message from God if you're not speaking to him yourself. That would not make you the point person. So spending your time with God, sitting with him in that stillness, is going to start to push you forward when it comes to your service. Now, the next aspect of service is actually more important than your service to others, to be real. And that is going to be your service to your own self. Service to self is everything. The first thing you are going to have to prioritize is your peace. Have to. There are going to be everything coming at you to pull you into any and every drama that could possibly be made. I'm talking work drama. I'm talking even drama on the bus when you're on your way to work. Everything's going to pull you. So prioritizing your peace is going to really get you. But you got to know what peace looks like. Some people, peace is listening to calming music, calming and soothing sounds. For some people, peace is being able to see something visual, such as sitting by the water and watching the waves crash. Some people, peace is listening to the birds chirp. I find peace in anything and everything that I have access to, and I would encourage the same. Find your peaceful center. If you find peace coloring in a coloring book, do that. Peace is not watching Netflix, unfortunately. That is distraction. So, knowing the difference between those things as well. What is peaceful and what are distractions? You need to know the difference in order to really master it. Next is resting over rushing. Again, just like with the service to mankind, you need to be able to be refreshed so that you can receive the insight you need. Okay, so I got the vision of a toddler that needs a nap. Anybody who has young children or have seen a young child in action, when they start getting tired, their brains are on autopilot. They just start doing things. They don't even think about why they did it. If you were to ask a toddler why they just did something when it's nap time, they're going to say, I don't know. And most likely be boo-hooing and crying, saying, I don't know. They have no idea. And the same kind of happens to us. God will call us into nap time. He will call us to sit down and to really rest your mind. The mind loves going a mile a minute because it has that power to do so. You don't have to tell your mind to think about things. It just do it. That's exactly what you have to rest from. So prioritizing doing that over rushing, even when it comes to service. We sometimes will get that vision and we're ready to go. We start working on projects. I am definitely guilty of this. I will tell you. Start working on projects because you're so passionate, but not realize that you're overworking yourself. God doesn't call us to overwork anything. Remember, projects for service are passion projects. You don't have to push through. You don't have to workhorse through. It will get done, and it will get done in His time. If God dropped you something that you need to be doing, you don't have to worry about if it's going to be done in the right time, especially when you align with His timing. And that's going to really help you maximize all of this. Now, spending time in God's presence is the last thing that I'm going to put under knowing what He wants for you, because people they underestimate this. Many will think that means being in a church. Now, I will say, God is very big on community. He wants you to spend time with like-minded people, like-minded souls, because they help cultivate you. They feed and fuel you, actually. But when you have to put yourself in a setting in order to spend time with Him, you have to question whether or not you are really prioritizing Him in your life. The reason why I say that is because God calls for you to build your sanctuary within. He wants you to get you a chair that when you sit in that chair is considered sanctified in His name, because the purpose of that chair is to connect with Him. He wants you to get a journal that is dedicated to Him, because what you write down, that's time spent with Him. He wants that. He wants you to take walks to clear your mind so that He knows that you are dedicating that time to Him. It doesn't mean sitting in a church just to hear His word. You should have a Bible so that you have access to His word on your own time. But as far as you giving Him your time, that's time you spend with Him, and it's daily. Most people go to church only on Sunday. Maybe they go into a service on a weekday schedule as well. You're called to spend time with God daily. And honestly, a few times a day, because I will definitely tell you, when you really get deep, you get deep. Now, spiritual practices are important. They are like a house when it comes to your time with God. And if you have a home, you normally don't have rooms that you just don't spend, like a room that just doesn't have a purpose. Every room has a purpose. And that's what your spiritual practices are. Of course, your main bedroom, the place where you spend the most time, that is your time, your space that you have that's dedicated to God. But then maybe you have an office space. Maybe that's where you conduct your resets, where you sit back and you reflect on what you've done, how your day has gone, and everything like that. Maybe you have another room where you do your physical activity, your stretching, your prioritizing of the body, because all of that is purposeful as well. You have to take care of your ride. I know too many people who will take care of their car better than they'll take care of their body. No, that's your first ride. I don't care what your wheels is looking like. You got to take care of this one. This was a gift. The last thing to touch on when it comes to your spiritual practices is that God calls for you to have sacred routines. Sacred routines. Things that you do because they identify with your spirit. So he does ask for you to have a morning routine where you do some breath work to reset your nervous system, and you declare blessings over your day and even start some affirmations. He does call for you to do a midday check-in with him. Maybe it's a simple prayer. Maybe it's a thank you for how this day has gone so far. Maybe it's just a simple reflection, but you take that time to retreat internally from the world, whether it's on your 15-minute lunch break or whatever, just to do a quick check-in with yourself and to assess yourself emotionally and mentally. And then lastly, nighttime. He calls for you to reset, to release the day's work, to release the day's stresses, so that you can go to sleep light and wake up and do it again. That's the proper way to keep your routine sacred. Now, of course, you add or subtract what you need to. My nighttime routine includes stretching, because I find that when you are emotionally unregulated, you tend to wake up with neck cricks and body aches. It'd be like that. So if you're somebody who wakes up with those types of things, maybe stretching is something you want in your routine. But having the routine, making it sacred, is going to keep your movements solid and help with that alignment when it comes to staying on God's timing. Now I'm going to follow up with some tools that are going to help you with this alignment. The first thing I'm going to say is declare a space for God. Give yourself a sacred space. Whether that is a cushion you sit on the floor, it is 15 minutes where you tell your kids, listen, you can't talk to mommy until XYZ time. When it's time to go off, come back and speak to me. Or if it's like me, you build a whole actual space. Because when you get into your moment with God, that time is for him and him only. I'm talking phone on D&D. I'm talking tell your friends don't call you. I'm talking you ain't checking your social media at that time. That time is 100% dedicated to your time with the Lord. That sacred space is everything. Second thing I'm going to touch on is fasting. We hear about fasting all the time. You know, you got to go a day not eating. Yes, not eating is really good. Why? It puts your body in recycle mode. It clears your mental clutter when you don't eat. Have you ever noticed that when you eat too much, you get that brain fog? You get the itis. You need a nap. That's what happens when your tummy is taken over. Too much eating actually is a bad thing. Just like anything, too much in excess is bad. When it comes to your food will cloud your judgment. Sugar does things to the brain. Meat does things to the emotions. Things like gluten completely disrupt your connection to source. So pay attention to your food. But the next thing I'm going to tell you is that fasting doesn't only include food. This is something that it took a while to get, because they don't teach you this in church. Fasting also has to do with the things that are around you. Sometimes you have to fast from people. Sometimes your best buddies, even though they mean you well, even though they encourage you, they want you to do great, they sometimes pull you away from your practices, and you may not notice it. Sometimes you being on social media distracts you from something you could be putting your time into that would be more purposeful. Sometimes going to the gym too often, when you don't have it down, can be a bad thing. So there are times where you want to do something that is actually good for you, but if you don't do it in a way that's aligned with God, it now is a distraction. I had to master. I love spending time in the gym, and it raises my vibration so well. I had to learn how to make that work when it came to my time with God. So what I did was I started to listen to not affirmation music. That's how I started. Affirmation music was getting me through. I was going through it. But what I had to start doing was listening to binaural beats and frequencies so that I'm in a thought pattern. I'm also in a clarity mindset. I keep a journal with me. There are times where I'll be on the treadmill or I'm on my elliptical and I'm doing my thing and something will come up. The Lord will airdrop a download. And I gotta be like, hold up, wait a minute. It's a job, bro. Pull that journal out and I write it down so that I can reflect on it later. Or if I send a channel message, you guys get it later. But I've learned to attune my favorite activities to God. There's times when you gotta do laundry. You can't negate doing laundry. But what you can do is while you are in that mental state of maybe folding, you are clearing your mind. You're doing it in silence. No background music, no background television going on. So that now if anything does come up, you're allowing the Lord to speak to your soul in that silence. So fasting. Anything that pulls you from God needs to be fasted. And the last thing I have is reading the Word. We always tell you, get into that Bible. But I'm going to tell you why today. The Bible isn't for you to master the book. It's not what it is. They make it seem like, oh, I know the Bible. I know that, and they can regurgitate scriptures so well. The Bible is a conversation God is having with what you're dealing with in real time. There are times you'll read a whole chapter and it speaks to a situation you went through. There are times where you'll read a line and that line will resonate with you for the next 3 days. The point is for the Lord to be able to access you and to give you more information. That information is even more sacred because just like I made the example of the street light saying wait, and I know to pull signs from everything and everywhere. When you read the Bible and you get a sign coming from the Bible, you don't question that sign. You know where it came from. So it's not, oh, is this from God or not? No, no. It's from his book. It's from God. It's from God. But make sure you meditate on it so you understand what it's trying to feed you, what it's trying to guide you toward. These are going to be the strongest aspects of really building your arsenal when it comes to aligning. You want to stay aligned. We ain't do all this work to be falling off, guys. You waited all this time for that seed to germinate so it could start producing something. We didn't do all that. Especially when we knew we couldn't dig the seed back up and see if it was actually we know now the seed is popping. Now it's time for us to stay on it. Now I'm going to finish up with saying we are not saviors. That was Jesus' job, and he did it so well. Ain't nobody following in Jesus' footsteps when it comes to being a savior. We are sanctuaries. It is our job to hold sacred space for ourselves and God first. And by doing that in a solid way, you are now able to hold sacred space for others, therefore cultivating their growth. This is how service works. So no, you are not to sacrifice in order to serve mankind. The only thing you should be sacrificing is these worldly endeavors that ain't really going to get you anything. But you don't sacrifice yourself. You don't sacrifice your rest, your time spent with the Lord, and you certainly don't sacrifice your peace. These are gifts. And God doesn't give you a gift for no reason. So hold those gifts in very high regard, especially if you're someone like myself who had to live a very long life with no peace. I ain't giving it up for nobody. It's mine. All right, I'm going to leave this right here. Drop something in the comments. Drop something awesome. Drop a cross. Drop a heart. Drop a plant, a seedling. There we go, because we germinating, y'all. And yeah, let's start connecting. like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's keep growing and flowing. I love and light, y'all, and peace.